welcome to the Explainer. So today, we're doing something a little bit different, but honestly, it's highly practical. We are looking at the exact anatomy of a perfect educational puzzle. Whether you're a content creator, a teacher, or just someone fascinated by how we can structure information to really optimize learning, this Explainer is absolutely for you. Our goal today isn't just to solve some simple puzzle. No, we are going to completely reverse engineer a highly effective educational tool so that by the end of this, you can walk away knowing exactly how to generate questions like this one in the image. But before we literally tear things apart, I want to pose a question directly to you. What actually makes a great puzzle for early learners? Seriously, think about it for a second. Because if a puzzle's too easy, right, it's boring, and the brain just immediately checks out. But if it's too hard, it causes frustration, and the learner just gives up. The real magic? It happens right in that sweet spot, that Goldilocks zone, where we find the perfect balance between challenge and engagement. It's really all about designing an experience where the learner feels totally supported, but still gets to experience that awesome dopamine rush of solving it themselves. Okay, let's dive into this by pulling up our primary case study. Now, at first glance, this is incredibly simple, right? It's bright, it's colorful, and it's simply asking us to make a word. But I want you to look past the cute aesthetic for a minute, because underneath the surface, this single image is a tightly engineered piece of educational design. Over the next few minutes, we're going to essentially act like an X-ray machine, revealing exactly how to generate questions just like this one. All right, let's start breaking things down with Section 1, Anatomy of a Visual Puzzle, where we'll be breaking down the components. Basically, there are three foundational pillars that make this specific visual puzzle function so brilliantly. First up, we've got the direct prompt at the very top. Second, we have the scaffolded blanks, which you can see in those letter tiles across the middle. And third, we have the contextual art anchoring the whole thing at the bottom. Literally every single pixel in this image serves one of these three masters. So let's break them down individually, starting with that prompt. Look right at the top of our image at the phrase, make a word. Notice the deliberate design choices here. It's a clear, enthusiastic directive. It uses these fun, decorative lines, a bright orange exclamation point, and just a really playful mix of bold colors. This isn't just basic text, you guys. It's a tone setter. It frames the task not as some high-pressure academic test, but as a fun, welcoming invitation. Whenever you're generating your own visual questions, your prompt absolutely must instantly disarm the learner and invite them to play.
Moving right along to Section 2, the power of scaffolding, building cognitive bridges.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the specific choice of the letter layout provided to the user. We have four distinct square tiles. The first is an F, the last is an H, and the middle two are left blank with these inviting orange underscores. This is definitely not an arbitrary design choice. The creator could have given them just the F or, honestly, nothing at all. But this specific constraint, providing the outer boundaries of the word, is the absolute secret sauce of this puzzle's mechanics. And that brings us perfectly to scaffolding. Think about it. Just like physical scaffolding supports a building while it's under construction, this layout supports the learner's brain while new neural connections are being made. It is all about providing targeted support to help learners achieve a goal they simply could not reach entirely independently. To truly appreciate how valuable this is, just look at this quick comparison. Imagine the unscaffolded version for a second. 4 completely blank tiles. For an early learner, the cognitive load there is massive. It's almost paralyzing. I mean, there are thousands of 4-letter words out there. But the scaffolded version, where we provide the F and the H, creates this highly targeted cognitive bridge. It prevents frustration by turning an overwhelming, anxiety-inducing task into a totally manageable deduction game. It reduces the variables just enough to make the challenge achievable.
But hey, letters alone just aren't enough. So let's look at Section 3, Analyzing Contextual Visual Clues, using the environment as a hint.
Notice that bright blue and yellow striped fish on the right? See the green seaweed, the vibrant orange starfish down there, the purple coral, the sand resting at the bottom, and even those delicate little bubbles floating upward? These specific environmental details subtly, yet super powerfully, guide the learner's brain straight toward aquatic vocabulary. It naturally primes their neural pathways for words related to the ocean.
Ask yourself this vital rhetorical question. What happens if we remove the underwater theme entirely? If this puzzle was just, say, black text on a sterile white background, the letters F, blank, blank, H could still be pretty frustrating. The learner might struggle to cycle through their entire vocabulary just trying to find the right fit. The visual context is exactly what successfully narrows down that massive universe of possibilities to a single, highly satisfying answer.
The core concept we're dealing with here is that well-designed visuals actually bypass verbal processing blockades. Say a child is stuck on phonetics, or maybe they're just having a moment where they're blanking on how to spell. Well, that bright blue and yellow fish acts as a nonverbal cognitive bridge. They see the fish, they think the word fish, and then, boom, they instantly realize they just need to figure out the 2 middle vowels to complete the puzzle. The art is quite literally collaborating with them to solve the problem.
And oh, there is one more subtle but entirely brilliant visual detail sitting right in the middle: the thinking face emoji. This little emoji acts as an emotional proxy for the learner. It normalizes the act of pausing and pondering. It essentially tells the user, hey, it is totally okay to stop and think about this for a second. It makes the whole challenge feel collaborative rather than solitary, and it perfectly validates the intellectual struggle as a fun part of the process.
Finally, we arrive at Section 4, the question generation formula, showing you how to build your own.
Having completely reverse engineered our source image, let's pivot away from analyzing and get into applying. We've seen exactly how the puzzle works. Now it's time to arm you with the tools to confidently build your own. So the crucial point is this highly actionable 3-step generation method derived directly from our analysis today. Step 1, pick a highly visual target word. It needs to be something easily represented in art. Step 2, define your letter constraints. This is your scaffolding. Give them the start and end letters to build that cognitive bridge. Step 3, surround those constraints with contextual visual clues. Build a vivid environment around the word to act as a clear, nonverbal hint.
And this brilliantly illustrates how seamlessly this formula can be replicated across basically countless subjects. This framework is completely universal. For example, if your target word is bird, your constraint might be B blank blank D, and your visual clues would be a sky, floating feathers, and a nest. If it's tree, the constraint is T blank blank E, naturally surrounded by leaves, apples, and green grass. For a moon, you'd use M blank blank N, set against a dark night sky with some stars and maybe a little owl. It really is that simple. The ultimate takeaway when you generate questions like this one in the image is that you must always balance the cognitive load with your visual hints. The true art of puzzle generation lies in giving just enough visual and structural support to guide the learner right to the answer without ever giving the whole answer away entirely. It is a delicate, honestly beautiful balance that makes learning feel exactly like a rewarding game.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. We've looked almost exclusively at early learners today, but how might you adapt this specific visual generation formula for a slightly older demographic, or perhaps a completely different subject matter altogether? The underlying principles of cognitive scaffolding and contextual clues remain exactly the same, no matter who or what you're teaching. Thanks so much for joining me. Keep designing great content, and happy generating.